welcome to the Baby Bunting Live series. This is series 2, episode 5. I'm Linda and I'm very excited to be here from Maxi Cosi, and we have Arron here, the National Installation and Services Manager. Tonight's topic is all about what to do when you're in hospital and you've got to take your bubs home. It can be quite daunting for many parents, so I really want to crack this topic open and share with you some tips and hints. So,
good evening, Linda.
Good evening,
viewers, and congratulations to any expectant parents watching tonight. As Linda said, the aim of this evening's episode is to help people prepare for that first of many journeys, many safe journeys home. And like any journey, the more you prepare, the more you plan, the more enjoyable it's going to be. We hope to share some tips and some advice to guide people through this sometimes perplexing area of child restraints.
So Arron, what are some of the most common questions that new parents or expectant parents have when purchasing a child restraint?
Firstly, when you walk into a Baby Bunting store, it's quite daunting. There's a big range of child restraints and there's a multitude of questions. But what's the difference between all the restraints? Which one interfaces with your car best? And say it's a safety product, and so you really need to be guided through that.
Yeah, and what are the key car seats to start for newborn?
So the two main places to start is a capsule and a convertible car seat. So we'll talk about the differences between those. They both work for a child coming out from hospital from birth. A capsule provides the ease of use for a parent, the freedom of movement from the car to the pram, and this may engage into your pram, and you may need to investigate adapters that might make that compatible, and then the ease of use and movement into the house, and then back into the car without disturbing that infant's sleep.
Yeah.
The base remains in the car, sturdy secured to the car, and you can have multiple bases, so it's easy to move the car from the child and the top carry unit inside the car.
And I think the thing that I love about the capsule, it's fantastic for parents who are having their first child. They're super nervous, they're not too sure how to get bubs in and out of the car. With being able to remove the capsule, you can actually put your baby in the capsule in your home, carry it out, and then place it into the base, just as Arron demonstrated then. As well, if you're going to have multiple children, you can actually keep the same capsule and utilise for the second and third child as well. Fantastic if you've got school drop-offs or pickups, whatever it is. It just gives you that flexibility that your newborn can stay sleeping in amongst all the busyness of the day. I think that's a fantastic thing to keep in mind. And what's a convertible car seat?
A convertible car seat does a dual mode. If you see a convertible car seat for an infant, it's very similar configuration to a capsule. So often people say, oh, I need a capsule, but there is the option of both. So a convertible car seat can operate in the rearward mode, and then when it's appropriate, turn around to the forward mode.
What does rearward mean?
Okay, wonderful. So the car's travelling in this direction, and the steering wheel's here, the child is facing out the rear of the car. And they travel in this mode in both capsules and convertible car seats facing the rearward motion way, because it's the safest way to travel. It's about the load of any potential accident being spread over the bigger area and keeping the child in the safest position.
Beautiful. So let's talk to a point now where it's first time child, even someone maybe a bit out of practice, they've got another child on the way. It's been a while since they've gone through this step. They're well on the way, they're possibly in hospital, or they know the hospital visit is coming up in about 4 to 6 weeks. When's the best time to get your car seat installed?
I'd say it's about being prepared. So firstly, if you've done your homework and you've picked what style of seat best suits your lifestyle and what seat best configures with the car, bearing in mind how the size of your car and the size of the restraint, we strongly recommend that people do it weeks ahead, not days ahead. 4 weeks would be ideal. Babies come early, it gives you time to prepare and have a play, get really conversant and familiar with your restraint, so that first travel home is less stressful, less full of anxiety, and you can really enjoy that.
Absolutely, like even having it in your car, being able to play with it a couple of weeks prior. If you've got any questions, you can come back into store, you can ask any of the staff members who've got any questions on the child restraint too. It's perfect. But what if they've missed that boat and little bubba is born, they're in hospital, and the car seat's not installed? What can they do there?
Okay, we have a network of installers across the country at all of Baby Bunting locations, so always contact them, always seek professional intervention first. Every restraint has instructions, whether that's a manual that comes with it or printed on the side. If you're in a rural area where you're not able to access professional intervention, you can attempt or go through that process yourself, but we still suggest that you get that checked. It's a safety product.
Yeah.
So even if you're at an initial drive home, you haven't been able to get some advice or professional assistance, as soon as possible, book yourself an appointment with an accredited and a professional installer, preferably baby Bunting, and then get it checked to make sure you're using it properly, because there's a high percentage of misuse, a real high percentage. It's maybe in small ways or big ways, but this being a safety product has to run and operate 100% of its capability.
So be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. And if you're not, like, even to make it super easy, you can also go onto the Baby Bunting website. You can get your car seat installed if need be. Straight away, that they're very accommodating. They'll help you out, but
Be prepared.
be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. Babies arrive early, and you'd be surprised how often people contact the store. The baby's coming home at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
They're at the door at 9 o'clock. Can you fit me in? Sometimes our installers are completely booked out. We have a very busy service. So be prepared. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't put yourself through that anxiety and stress. Be prepared, because it's just going to make the whole day run smoothly.
And I think you partly covered it, but let's go. Why is it important to have it professionally installed?
Because, let's say, a large percentage of restraints, some studies suggest that up to 70 to 80% of restraints are wrong. But it's not just having it installed properly and how it's fitted, it's how you use it, its functionality, being comfortable how this works. So if you put a child in, and we'll have a demonstration in a little while, if you put a child in and you're confident how it works, you're not upsetting this little fragile thing in here. You're not trying to bend their arms and fit them in. You're actually confident in how it works, and you drive home and you don't have that anxiety. Is this right? And I'm not sure. Has my uncle, dad, brother, sister-in-law done this right? Just because they've done their own doesn't mean that they've got it right. Last week I said I have 5 children. Mechanical engineer, my seats are wrong. It's surprising. It's very important we install this parachute for infants right.
And you beautifully said earlier on, the hospitals help deliver your baby, and a correctly installed child restraint helps deliver your baby home.
Yes.
So on that as well, I know at Maxi Cosi we do get a lot of questions about this, but I want you to be able to talk to hospitals. Sometimes there are hospitals that ask for a certificate to show that your child restraint is installed. Can you just talk to that?
Okay, it's not a requirement in any state in Australia that is fitted by legislation or law, but there are hospitals that have some requirement of that. So, and I think that's important. They used to come down and check your seat to make sure it was okay, because you're right, they've helped you deliver your baby. They want to make sure that baby is going to travel safe home. So they're really putting it in as a safeguard. So there are hospitals that do require that. I would check with your hospital prior to that day. Again, it's about being prepared, have that conversation. Do I need to have, give some documentation? Be prepared, because if you go to leave the hospital and they ask you for that, there'll be a bit of a commotion.
Yes. So they're the main things about having your child restraint installed prior to the day. Now we're going to move our imagination. You're in the hospital room. Your bubs is born. You've had your wife has had a couple of days of recovery, and it's now time to take them home for the first journey. And I think this is something really important to cover. We're going to demonstrate to you how to utilise the seat, and also take you through a couple of the features and benefits in the child restraints as well. Just one moment.
So it's about being confident in how it works and being competent in how it works. So you want to make sure not only is it the appropriate seat for the child, that it's installed properly and that you're using it properly. And as I said, there's a large percentage of misuse and misinstallation. I believe the misuse is a bigger factor than the misinstallation. So it's about how do you secure your child in it. If the child's not secured to the seat might be secured. They're not going to stay in there when we need them to. So there's a top tether strap in the rearward facing mode that goes to the back of the car. Rather than lift the baby over and under that, as many parents do, drop that out of your way. Makes your life a little bit easier. Yeah, just by pressing that button there. Now this doesn't have to be overly tight. It's there to stop forward movement. So it has to be taut, not tight. So drop that out of your way. And then you've got better access to the child. Always loosen the belts every day. The child's growing, we're in different clothes. We're in Melbourne, the weather's different every day. So loosen the belts of the child every day. And get them out of the way so that when you return, have I found my magnet? There we go, there's a lovely little magnet feature there that holds the buckles out of the way. So when I return with the child, I'm not going through that stressful manipulation and wrestle with the child. So when you return and you put your little infant back in, it's easy. The belts aren't twisted, the belts are flat around the child. Twisted belts don't function the way they should, so we want to make sure they're flat and tight. I always pull it from behind so it's nice and snug across their collarbones and hips. We do need to make sure their arms and legs are in the right place. That can be a little bit confusing. So I'm pulling there. So it can be a little confusion. Our arms and legs need to go in the right place. And then we tighten that 2 fingers between their chest and the belts. This is a doll, so it doesn't have the same structure as a baby, but 2 fingers between their chest and the belts. And reverse that when you go to get them out. You would loosen, and then before you drive off, make sure you retighten. It's easy to forget, but make sure you retighten that. Take a second, stop, make sure it's all right before you drive off. As I say, when you put your seatbelt on, you do that every trip. This is a seatbelt for them. We want to make sure it's right before you leave.
And what about when the baby is growing?
Good question. So babies grow quite rapidly in those initial months, so do consider when it's time to remove any infant padding. But as they get taller, as their torso grows, you can, on this seat there's a feature, you can move this up in increments as they grow, and it keeps going up until their torso in the rearward facing mode meets the second height marker, and that can be years, not months. Let me move that out of your way, sorry. Second height marker. Wonderful, so we can talk about how to put a child in and out of a capsule.
Yeah.
Is there any other
Yeah,
queries
I'm
on
thinking
that?
I might, whilst you're there, I might also just highlight some of the key features. This is a Maxi Cosi Euro Plus, so if you do have this or if you want to purchase, it's got some fantastic features on there, which I'll talk to you now. First up, we have the wonderful work.
Yes, good, sorry.
taking you back to your early years with your children.
Absolutely, I've got this one's head.
We have the G-cell on the side, so the best part about this seat is our safety protection on the side. So G-cell is actually derived from honeycomb technology, so basically hexagonal shapes all placed together. The purpose of it is, in the instance that you have a side impact collision, this will actually protect your child by an additional 75%. So what that means is that any energy forces that come through from the accident, this will absorb up to an additional 75% to normal and not transfer to your child, which means they move less and they're more secure. On top of that, we have Air Protect, which are these amazing snug air cushions on the side. You can actually hear the air. In the instance of an accident, your child's head, if they're older, they will basically have their head cushioned. That will release air and protect their head by an extra 50%. So that protects their cranium, protects their neck, and then their whole torso is protected as well. We want every child to be comfortable, so we've got cool baby wicking fabric. Think about sports wicking fabric that pulls moisture away from your skin to help you stay regulated with your body temperature. That's exactly what this material does. Easy to remove, put it in the wash if there's any vomit or if there's any milk spillage or anything that's going on in the car seat of the full use of from newborn to 4 years. And the awesome thing that Arron also pointed out is the magnetic harness holders. So this is super important because it makes your life so much easier. Set it up, away you go, especially in the heat of summer. You don't have these little metal buckles hanging around that may touch your little one. It's on the side, ready to go to place your child back in. We also do have accident exchange, also warranty as well with all of the Maxi Cosi child restraints. Check out the website for more details. But without further ado, let's get into the
great features
capsule.
there, great features you pointed out. And let's move on to the capsule. And it's very similar use, very similar use. So again, lovely magnets to keep the belts out of the way. Adjusting it to them every day, remembering they're growing rapidly. And it's actually a less stressful experience if you loosen and tighten to them every day. And nice and snug. You know it's right every trip, rather than trying to fit them in the previous setting. So and 2 fingers between their chest and the belt, it's the same way, legs and arms in the right place across their collarbones and hips, and you know they're going to be nice and safe and locked in snugly into that capsule.
And whilst you're there, I'll just flip this around to show you to remove it from the base. So handlebars are on the side, put that in. And then at the back here is a grey lever. So you pull that and you pull the whole capsule up. So then this can actually then go onto your stroller. So if it's a Maxi Cosi stroller, adapters are included. If there's any other stroller, they sell the Maxi Cosi adapters. You can also walk around easily. Some people, when they get home, they like to have it as a little bit of a rocking as well. Take your bubba out approximately every 2 hours just to be able to straighten their back out as well. Fantastic for long trips if you're going to visit someone. And then again, you can take your bubba, you can take this in the home, take your bubba out, continue on with the day, and then replace them back in.
That's a tip around that, because they can become quite tiresome to lift, but as you did, if you put your arm around like that,
yes,
and down like that, it makes it life a lot easier.
Yes.
Cool.
Balancing on the hip.
Yep.
Which is this way.
Yep.
So you can also balance it on the hip like that. So you've got the full support of your hip on the side if you want to carry the capsule that way, and you can also have your baby facing out that way too. I'm going to talk to the features now on the actual capsule. I'll flip it around. So exactly like the Euro Plus, we have the magnetic harness holders on the side if need be. So the little buckle in here goes to the side. Cool baby wicking fabric. Again, easy to remove, especially at this time. There might be a couple more diaper accidents through this stage. And we also have Air Protect coming all the way down on the side of the head as well. Again, in the instance of an accident, it's there to protect your bubba's head and also down to the torso. This is the Miko Plus, which, as the name suggests, has additional features, a couple of pluses. Melbourne, it can rain quite a lot. Queensland, it can get quite torrential, and all the other states in between have their own weather patterns. This is fantastic because this actually helps to deflect the UV rays away from your child, and also protects them in the instance of rain as well. Also, you might be in a shopping centre, you might be out and about, and you just want your baby to be able to get a bit of extra sleep and a bit of extra coverage. Place this hood down, and it's a perfect way that they are shielded from the light, are shielded from, curious people wanting to have a little look in and have a little tickle of your little one, and you may not desire that. We also have airflow through the back, so there is a flap at the back, and you just flip that up, and there's a little vent, so you've got a nice little ventilation going all the way through the back and to the front as well. We also have a dual buckle adjustment, so we actually keep the buckle, when purchased, it actually sits quite close to your newborn to make sure that it's a really snug fit. As they're growing, there's actually a feature underneath that's very easy to use, and it can actually come further out as they're growing as well, so to help with your growing child.
Yeah, that's important because parents often ask, especially with a nappy on, it gets quite tight. So to move that as they grow, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And they're the key features of the Maxi Cosi capsule, Miko Plus, and the Euro Plus convertible car seat. So really, in conclusion, what we're saying is be prepared from hospital. Be prepared with going into store, researching, having a look online, asking all the questions that you need to ask, making the decision, and then booking in to get it professionally installed. There is well over 80% of first-time car installations that are incorrectly installed. I think it's because it's such a daunting task. It's something that we're not used to, we're not accustomed to. Once you understand how it's done, it's a lot easier, but just don't take that risk. It's just, we put so much effort to make the child restraint safe. It's just that one little bit just to make sure that your baby is even safer once they're on the journey.
As you said, the hospitals have put you on the right path. They've delivered the baby for you. The manufacturers have spent time and research in doing the fitting, making the seats, manufacturing them to the safest possible way they can, then complete that circle by using it properly, choosing it properly, and installing it properly.
Yeah.
And be prepared, because you can avoid stressful situations just by planning ahead.
Exactly. All right, so that concludes the Facebook Live for this evening. Thank you, Arron.
Thank you.
Thank you.